The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Welcome in once again to Crossed Flags, latest edition here. Quite a bit of things to get to, and unfortunately, we bring this to you on the same day that we find out rock and roll legend Ozzy Osbourne passes away at the age of 76. So kind of sad news there, but we got plenty of racing news that we need to deal with since this is not the Entertainment Roundtable. Want to thank, first of all, producer John, producer Molly for getting us set up and everything there. And of course, comments and likes are always welcome down here. Subscribe, please. And again, we're always loving to read your comments. So thank you very much for taking part in the show as much as you can. Producers are there. Matt's right here and feeling better. Continuing to feel better, I guess, might be the better question.
There's a daily progression. It's slowly getting better.
Yeah, voice is sounding stronger, so that's good.
It still has its weak points, but overall, it's getting stronger.
Hey, we all have our weak points. That's the way it goes. All right, let's kick off with, I guess, what might be kind of an... I got to admit, I wasn't expecting this. The 32 seed makes it to the finals. What? How the heck did that happen? Yeah, we're going to have the Battle of the Ties coming up this weekend when we have Ty Dillon versus Ty Gibbs for $1 million at Indianapolis. And the thing about it is that Cowlick car with Ty Dillon behind the wheel, it's not burning things up. It's just amazingly steady, consistently getting top 10s, some top 10s, top 15s, top 20s. How long can this run keep up?
To be honest with you, I really don't know. Because Indianapolis is one of the stronger suits for Gibbs.
Yeah.
Team. Be careful with that.
Yes.
Gibbs is team. I think I've just got this feeling that the glass slipper will break and be busted this weekend.
Okay. The thing about it is, though, if you look at it, and again, we're saying all things being equal here. In other words, we're discounting them being involved in an accident, whether they caused it or not. We're discounting a blown engine that you can't foresee. We're just looking at this head to head, presuming that they make all 400 miles. But it is interesting to note that Ty Dillon's average finish at the Brickyard isn't actually all that bad. Strangely
it's not. I mean, it's the side of his lone Xfinity Series win. He's ran decent there in a Cup car times that he has been there.
Mm-hmm.
But it would not, to be honest with you, I would not be completely and overly shocked if it was to come to light that Colleague car is prepared by RCR for the weekend.
I could see that, actually. Yeah,
I would not be shocked. And then with it coming out this morning too, that the actual $1 million prize goes to the owner and not the driver, is leaving me scratching my head going, why are we amending this last minute like some other things?
Yeah. I mean, some initial reports said that it was going to go straight to the driver and that the driver could do whatever they want to with it. Now we're getting word that it's going to the owner instead of the driver. I don't think Matt Cowlick needs it. I know Joe Gibbs doesn't need it. Could they use it? Sure. But Joe Gibbs has got himself in a very good position. Matt Cowlick, he's quite wealthy on his own, and his teams generally are pretty well funded. So it's not that they need it. I would imagine there's going to be some bonuses in it for either one as far as the crew is concerned. Doesn't matter which owner wins this whole $1 million shebang coming up after this weekend. But it is just, it's again, this is it's a gimmick. It's kind of a fun gimmick. I'll give them credit for that. It's not earth shattering. It's why we haven't dealt with it on the big show. We're just dealing with it here on the podcast.
Yeah, it's not. To be quite honest with you, it really hasn't lived up to what I thought it was going to live up to. it's really honestly kind of been underwhelming.
This is obviously an opinion. Does it make a difference to you in the fact that you've got, granted, Ty Gibbs, who is, I want to say he was a very high seed, certainly in comparison to anybody else that made the Final Four.
I think he was a 12.
Okay. Does it make any difference to you in the fact that you got a Cinderella story in Ty Dillon? You've got a 32 seed that has made it all the way to the finals. Does that make it any more intriguing than you think it might have been had, say, we'll use Ty Gibbs as a 12 seed there and say he was taken on and I know this number is going to be wrong, but I'll just throw out a higher number. Let's say the 4 seed.
It's really hard to say because as the way they went, you really don't know how the race is going to play out.
Right.
But I mean, if you want to make a comparison like we made comparisons for NCAA tournament style setups, this would be something like Loyola Chicago, the Fighting Sister Jeans. This would be like Loyola Chicago. Wait a minute, no, I'm gonna go a better one. This would be like UMBC, University of
Maryland, Baltimore campus.
University of Maryland, Baltimore campus when they knocked off Villanova that year. This would be like them going to the national championship. I would say probably against, if you want to use a fair comparison to how Ty Gibbs was seeded, I'm going to say this would be about like going up against Memphis.
Yeah.
Like that going up against Memphis.
You got two teams that you certainly weren't expecting there.
As how sneaky they were that year, you could see the upset happening, but in all likelihood, Memphis is going to wipe the floor with UMBC. And in all likelihood, the 54 is probably going to wipe the floor with a 10 car.
And again, all things being equal, presuming that both of them can finish all 400 miles, that's the way that it should be.
And the way that Indianapolis can be taxing on engines on those long straightaways, anything is possible for sure.
And it's not going to be the coolest of days up there. I mean, we are talking about late July, and Indianapolis is going to be fairly toasty this time. So yeah, looking at the weather forecast, that may actually play a factor into the ability of those engines to hold together.
Brakes as well.
When you ask me who I think has the more reliable engines overall, even if RCR is preparing the car, I'm going Gibbs.
TRD, I'm going to give the nod to TRD on that one.
Yep, I will too. All right, we'll see, and we'll of course talk about it once we get to this time next week and see how the battle of the ties went and who walked away with $1 million. And this also brings us to an interesting situation. Let's kind of give you a little bit of backstory here. We've got the Motor Racing Network. We've got the Performance Racing Network. This is purely on the radio side of things, right? Motor Racing Network covers all the tracks that are owned and operated by NASCAR, formerly known as ISC, International Speedway Corporation. PRN does all the ones owned by Speedway Motorsports Incorporated. And then on the rare occasions when we go to a track like we're going to this weekend, it kind of gets traded off. You know, Mexico City was one thing, and, you know, now Indianapolis will be another. For example, we went down to Mexico City and we had a group that came together and they did the performance. They did the call for the race.
Yeah, they were underneath the MRN banner. Yeah.
Yeah. But the curveball here is the fact that only covers the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. When you get down to the Truck Series, suddenly we have this newly created NASCAR Racing Network, NRN. And this is generally a combination of personalities that we hear on a pretty regular basis on either MRN or PRN, and they mash them together. And you and I wondered whether or not this was going to become something of I don't know, a trend. And judging by the radio crew that's calling it this week over the Indianapolis Racing Network, it certainly does seem that way, because we have seen where MRN has done it some years. We've seen where PRN has done it a couple of times too. Now we're going to have a combination of MRN and PRN callers at Indianapolis calling the races on Saturday for the Xfinity Series and on Sunday on the Brickyard 400 for the Cup Series.
Yeah, with them mixed in with they were mixed in all together with the with some of the IndyCar guys. Which when I saw this, I thought this is really good. It's a 9-person crew with
and it is a good crew.
3 members from each branch of broadcasting, motorsports broadcasting, that are merged together with on this race course right here. Because, like you said, I think it was really at the later part of last year, you and I started seeing that some of the PRN guys were merging into the MRN broadcast. When we first originally saw that was Daytona, when we saw Brad Gilley on pit road, and Brad Gilley is the lead guy for PRN's booth, and you're going like, what do we got here? Yeah. And you see Wendy Venturini 1 or 2 times. Then you see Alan Cavana merging in. And then on the PRN side, you see Alan and Wendy over there as well. You really haven't seen that many MRN guys merge over until this year, until you saw Alex Hayden merging in with them at COTA. He was a turn announcer at COTA.
Yeah.
Okay. Then you're seeing this merging come together because with that, with the Truck Series network, the NRN network, the base of them, the base lead team is whichever one has got the Cup race that weekend. But you see the PRN guys and MRN guys dabble and merge together on pit road and the turns, which I think is really good.
Oh yeah, I don't have any problem with it. But and producer John's about to show you the lineup as they're going to be this weekend. So if you're listening to your local radio affiliate, you're going to get an idea of who's where and all the names that are going to be involved in this. And you can see blue shirts MRN, red shirt is going to be PRN, and then you got the gray shirt. I guess we could call it gray.
The Indian RN, yeah. And in my opinion, as you see right there, but I'm not Brad Gilley leading the broadcast. That's not a surprise. Good move right there.
It is a good call. I don't have a problem with it. And this is no disrespect to either one of the lead booth guys at MRN, but Brad Gilley's very good at what he does.
Brad Gilley's very good. And then having Nick Yeoman beside him, the lead turn announcer for the Indianapolis Radio Network for the IndyCars, that's a really good move too. Nick is really good.
Yeah, he knows more about that track, truthfully, than anybody at MRN or PRN.
And the way they have the turn announcers, you can see right there in the middle row, you got Alex Hayden. He's going to be in turn 1. Fantastic move. Alex is jam up no matter what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Young, he'll be in turn 2. That's his normal spot for the Indianapolis 500 when he's there. Pat Patterson merging in from PRN into turn 3. And then, my opinion, one of the more underrated, very underrated, and he should be a turn announcer over some other ones that are there. We're not going to name names. Chris Wilner being in turn 4. Chris is very good at what he does.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the pit road crew is fantastic as well.
Brett McMillan, Rich Nye, and Jason Toy.
Yeah.
I think Brett and Jason are going to work really, really, really good. I think Rich is newer to the team for this year for Indianapolis, but Brett and Jason should be jam up. This is whoever assembled this crew up to have this broadcast, I think they get an A+ on this one.
Oh yeah. If there's anything, and this is not a complaint necessarily. In fact, I'm going to give producer John credit in making us look like we're actually part of the broadcast team there, the way that he put our pictures in the inset there.
Take the pagoda spot.
Yeah, we appreciate it. But if you were going for lack of a better term, the all-star cast, is it a little surprising that, for example, Postman's not on pit road, or Bagman's not doing granted he's booth now, but he came out of doing turn calls. I mean, it could be him, could be the Godfather, could be Dave Moody. Are you a little surprised that at least not one of those 3 is in there?
I'm sure they probably approached them to come to it, but they probably wanted a weekend off and just took it.
Yeah. The chance to just sit and watch it.
Yeah,
or listen to it or whatever it is that they want to do.
because because NBC, when they had the broadcast rights to the 400, Mike Bagley, that when they do radio style, Mike would be on the NBC broadcast doing.
Yes,
I think
he
he
would.
was in turn 2.
Yeah.
So, but if they were to add a third one to each, let's say each branch, because you got branch 1 lead, branch 2 turns, branch 3 pit road. I could say you could probably add Mike to the booth with Brad and Nick.
Make it a 3-man booth. Okay.
Make it a 3-man booth. Turn wise, to even it out, the alternate turn announcer, I would probably have Doug Turnbull from PRN.
Sure. And I wouldn't have a problem with that either.
And then maybe an alternate pit road guy, in which he's done it before. Dave could be on pit road.
Sure. I mean, they've all done all of those jobs. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, they've done all of them at some point, but
But to me,
to
me, there's almost a bigger thing going on at play here, because I now start to begin to wonder even more whether or not we're going to start to see more of this merging, and what we see in the truck series with this NRN. I'm wondering if MRN and PRN kind of go away as we know them now, and NRN becomes the radio broadcast for NASCAR at all top levels.
I'm actually envisioning that happen. I can see it happening, but one you have to look at that's a pretty solid crossover that does Indycar and NASCAR together is Nick Yeoman. He's done a lot of turn stuff for PRN. He was the turn guy in turn 4 at Atlanta in June.
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to part of that broadcast, which it felt really, really weird not being at Atlanta that time. But, I had surgery lurking and I had to just play my cards out.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll be back.
Oh, yeah. Nick was really very good calling a super speedway style race, and he admitted on his social media that's the first super speedway style race he's ever called.
Yeah.
And he's done a lot of turn announcing for road courses for PRN, and he's evolving more and more and more into the PRN side just as much as he's already on the IRN side.
Yeah.
So, but back to what you said, yes, I can envision that happening starting in Daytona next year and having a rotation of turn announcers.
Yeah.
Like your high profile, your bigger ones like Dave, Kyle Rickey, for example.
Yeah.
They have some of the bigger races. And then you get some of the PRN guys and start merging them in, maybe merge a PRN guy in, and maybe in turn 4.
Sure.
Have that rotation up and balance out to where you have an equal mix of everyone coming together for one broadcast.
And it's not only that, but if, and I'll just use Dave Moody as the example, because every once in a while he'll beg off of a West Coast race. Like, for example, he doesn't go to Phoenix at the early part of the year. He'll go when it's championship weekend, but he doesn't go at the early part of the year. This gives them a deeper bench to be able to pull from.
Yeah, and the bench is probably about to get real deep.
Yeah, exactly. Makes me wonder whether or not the bench is going to get cold a little bit. But that's for later. All right. Had to mention it because just found it very interesting. And if you do get the chance to listen on the radio, it actually probably will be the equivalent of an all-star crew that's calling it. But they're also dealing with this, and we talked about this on the big show pretty much at length on Saturday, in this 2311 and Front Row Motorsports versus NASCAR deal, and the fact that at Dover, they were considered open cars, which for all intents and purposes, it made no difference whatsoever. As we noted on the big show on Saturday, we've only had 2 races this year in the Cup Series where we have had more than 40 entrants for a race. And that was at the Daytona 500, which you would expect. And also for Chicago, because apparently everybody feels like Chicago is the place that they want to go and try and win. Otherwise, we have not seen a situation where we have had more than 40 cars trying to get into a race. So them being an open car really at this point in time doesn't matter, save for the fact that the charter gives them a little extra money from the purse at the end of the race. That's where it makes the difference. Starting the race is not a problem because they're all but guaranteed unless you have 41 cars trying to get in, and then they have to qualify on speed and on time. Or if it happens to rain out, they have to make sure they got the tiebreaker, which none of the 6 are in danger of having to worry about that right now. So why in the world does NASCAR make a rule adjustment, might be the best way to put it? And we're going to pop it up here on the screen for you guys to look at here. This is part 1, the first part of this rule change, where NASCAR states, and I'm going to read this directly, at its sole discretion may elect to limit the number of entries for a race to 40. In such instances, open teams will be determined based upon the team owner points standings. That's not really that much of an adjustment. That's what we're used to, correct?
To a degree, I see what you're saying, but it's to a degree. The way I read that is they're capping the entry list at 40.
If they choose to.
If they choose to, which I think is an absolute disgrace and a slap in the face to the teams of like Carl Long, BJ McLeod,
sure,
the Beard Motorsports team. Just
Junior
for an example,
Motorsports, number 40 for that. We'll throw that one in there as well.
If they choose to so decide to run another one, them too.
And it's also
teams like that.
It's also a slap in the face to that provisional in some ways, if you stop and think about it, because at their sole discretion, they could decide, yeah, this race, I know you kind of wanted to do the provisional, but we're not going to do it this race.
They are, and when they do stuff, this is my sole opinion. When they do stuff like this on the fly, what I call doing it on the fly, not announcing it, not just consulting with everybody, they're just like, oh, hey, we're making a rule change here. This right here, this specific move right here, my opinion, is a move to where they're trying to save face and make themselves look good in the matter of all this right here. But in turn, when all they're doing is they're giving Jeffrey Kessler, Bob Jenkins, Denny Hamlin, and Michael Jordan more ammo, going, why are we unilaterally changing a rule to benefit them, acting like they're trying to benefit us, when in turn, we're not going to have a problem making a race.
Yeah, not for the foreseeable future, that's for sure.
We're not going to have a problem making a race.
Let's take a look at the second part of this while you're continuing your thought.
Like I said, it's a disgrace and slap in the face to somebody like Carl on BJ McLeod, Beard Motorsports. Heck, even if 2311 decides to unload the 4th car, the 67 car, let's throw them in there. Let's throw in the 3rd RCR car.
The 33 car.
Yeah, let's throw in the 3rd Collie car, the 13 car. Let's say they want to bring Will Brown back for Watkins Glen and run him one more time.
Which is possible.
Which is a legitimate possibility. But, okay, you add all of them up right there, you could realistically, all right, let's back them to this right here. Talladega, you got all those other cars plus the I'm going to call them the main 36.
Mm-hmm.
Main 36. All right. You got all of them. And let's say there's 7 open cars that want to try to qualify. 36 plus 7, 43.
Yep.
Oh, we're going to cap the field at 40. All right. Who are we going to tick off and say, no, you can't roll through the gate because we're capping the field at 40? Who are we going to tick off? I don't think you're going to tick off Richard Childress. I seriously doubt you're going to tick off Matt Colley.
Probably not.
Because of what's going on, the first person they're probably going to tick off is Denny and Michael. Because they're like, nah, we're not going to let 67 car roll through the gate.
Yeah, you've already got 3 cars coming in. You're good.
You got cars like BJ McLeod, Carl Longs, Beard, NY Racing.
Yeah.
NY Racing will show up at a super speedway.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to sacrifice making some of our lower teams that come in and give us those full fields. just because we're trying to make ourselves look good in a lawsuit thing, to where, I mean, and what's still striking in my mind is what Denny said in his media availability on Friday. Come December the 1st, every single thing is going to get exposed. Which leads me to my question. What are they sitting on that they're waiting to go click and open that folder?
That is interesting.
It makes me wonder. They're sitting on something.
Part 2 of this, you can see where some stuff is highlighted, and specifically one area has been crossed out. So 4 open teams will be eligible for starting grid positions based upon the fastest single lap posted to each open team's vehicle in the first qualifying round. They eliminate the next available starting grid position. So they're modifying the wording there, and then says up to 6 open teams be eligible for starting grid positions based upon the highest ranked team owner points standings, which that somewhat covers the tiebreaker situation as well. That's a multiple situation. That's why I say it somewhat covers it. That actually covers multiple aspects of qualifying.
All they had to do was leave this alone, because top 32 make it in on speed.
Mm-hmm.
Xfinity top 31 make it in on speed. Cup top 32 make it in on speed. And then the provisionals, which is 33 through how many ever's left in the field,
right? How
many enter, you get it stacked by your owner points. Nobody was or is going to be in danger, of missing a race. To whoever had this social media garbage that was thrown out there, if they had been an open team in Chicago, Bubba Wallace would have missed the race. No, he wouldn't have. He would have had a provisional based on owner point standings. The last car that is going to miss a race is that 23 car.
Oh, yeah.
The last car that is going to miss a race.
To get there. You're going to have to go.
The last car that's going to miss a race is that 45 car.
Yeah, technically that is the last one based upon where he is sitting in the points. Then Bubba Wallace comes after that. So the second to last car that's going to miss a race, if you follow the rules all the way down through, for lack of a better term, the tiebreakers, if you will, the last 2 cars are the 23 in order. The 23 and the very last car would be the 45.
Some of the things that get done are so confusing, but all you had to do is just leave it alone and everything would play itself out, because everything, the cost of running a cup car for one race are so stinking high that, let me just go get a cup car and bring it out of the bush. Oh, but I need $250,000 just to even put it on the trailer, just to even roll through the gate.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
No.
So, I mean,
go ahead. I read a thing, just a short little blurb about Darrell Waltrip, DW, coming into NASCAR, in the early 1970s, and how he bought a car that had been reskinned. In other words, he had a chassis that was actually old, but he had a body that was within the past couple of years. So they had taken the body off and they had changed it back when you could do that. And how he bought the car with some help for a grand total of about $12,500. You can't do that anymore. It doesn't work.
You can't even buy the rear end assembly for $12,500 now.
Exactly. That's how much it's changed in 50 years.
But we're trying to do cost-cutting measures, but we're sending these teams and everybody on a logistical disaster from Detroit to Mexico City. We're single sourcing out parts to where you can only buy the parts from here. When it used to be, you could save much more money and build your own parts to the specific specs of everything, because that's what technical inspection is supposed to be.
Exactly.
Teams were technically saving some money, but what they took away from the teams to be able to do and outsourcing the parts that's what drives the cost up, because, hey, you got to get these parts from us. We can charge you whatever we want to. We're going to keep getting money, to which, memory serves me correct, one of these transaxle rear end housings that they have for the rear gear and the rear assembly and everything, you could have, I think it was 4 to 5 standard Ford 9-inch rear end housings that were underneath the older Cup cars, you could have 5 compared to 1.
Yeah. And
which is absolutely stupid.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Sad, but it's true. And again, this is somebody in NASCAR deciding that we need to fix what's not broken. You're making it more complicated.
Where to quote something that ourselves and Matt Coulter have said, that we're absolutely navy blue in the face trying to fix something that's not broken.
That's it. And they keep doing it. Let's wrap up on some good news here. Let us show you a scoreboard from last weekend at Kent, Washington's Northwest Nationals. Kent, Washington, and up near Seattle hosted the Northwest Nationals for the National Hot Rod Association, the NHRA, last weekend. And when we show you this scoreboard, you're going to wonder why it is we're showing it to you. Go ahead and throw that up there, John. So this scoreboard showed up in the lane for one Brittany Force, John Force's daughter. She ran a 3.65, which 3.65 ET is very good, don't get me wrong, but it's not a record. The record's the number below it. That's the reason why we're showing you this. 341.85 miles per hour. Now, scoring can take this off and do a couple more numbers, but 341.85 miles per hour is about, what, 0.2 of a mile per hour faster than the previous NHRA speed record, if I remember the number correctly.
It's at least 2 to 3, because I think Bob Tasca had the speed record at the run they did in Bradenton last year.
I thought it was somewhere in the low 6s, 341.6.
340. NHRA speed records.
But if you think about this, this is, we just started covering the IHRA, for example, here. And IHRA top fuel dragsters are not coming anywhere near 340 miles an hour. They were in the 320s tops. So you're talking about the NHRA going out there and setting new speed records constantly. Now we're at 341. I mean, it's not going to be all that much longer before we hit 342. And I would be really, really shocked if the NHRA is doing much in the way of trying to cut down on how fast these men and women are going, whether you're in top fuel or funny car. And funny car can go almost as fast as top fuel can.
She actually broke her own speed record, which was 341.59.
Okay.
Funny car,
high fives. Got it.
Funny car is 341.68. That's held by Austin Pratt. He was set in Pomona last year.
Okay, so that backs up what I was saying just a moment ago in that funny car and top fuel. They can run right about level with each other on overall ultimate speed. So I don't know whether it'll be this year, but I would not be surprised if by the end of the season we see somebody post a 342.
I wouldn't be totally surprised. It wouldn't surprise me if we see over 342.
Yeah,
now,
I could see well into the 342s.
If on the Northwest swing that they're doing, if they still had a place to go in Denver,
ooh,
if Vandermeer was still running and still open, and they could backtrack through Denver, and the air be a little bit cooler there,
yeah.
So I would say 345 is not out of the question.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to get that chance. I mean, you think about the fact that they're running, Chase for the Championship starts in what? Late September, I think it is.
I think so, yeah.
And guess where they're going for the first round? They're going to Pennsylvania. It could be cooled off by then enough to the point where it gives them some really, really good air to go floating through. Not necessarily out of the question. Again, could you see 345? Yeah, maybe. Sure. 342 is certainly the next benchmark that they're going to be looking at, because we haven't seen 342 yet. But I'm here to tell you, IndyCar can sit there and call themselves the fastest motorsport out there, but the NHRA's got a pretty good argument based upon that number right there as to why they actually are the fastest motorsport out there.
Absolutely.
So congratulations to Brittany Force. Looking forward to seeing it. And somehow, I don't know how it is, and Brittany Force has won events, certainly, but it is amazing how she can post these really, really amazing, eye-popping ETs and speeds, and she doesn't have more wins. That's the thing that kind of freaks me out. It's
you attribute that to David Grubnick and the crew chief David Grubnick and that team tuning that car up perfect.
Yeah, I mean, they really do a very fantastic job with that, and congratulations to Brittany Force breaking her own speed record. So keep it up. I can't wait to see it 342, and we'll make sure that we talk about it right here on this and probably the big show as well. We might actually re-bring this up during the big show on Saturday, just because I think it is that big of a deal. It's very, very cool stuff. So again, Matt, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Continue to get better, my friend, and we'll see you on Saturday. Thanks to producer Molly and producer John for all the hard work that they do. Producer John doing everything that you see here. Producer Molly making sure that we are posted up on our Jocks 94.5 Brothers page as well, and we certainly appreciate her doing that. We thank you for checking us out, subscribing down below, and of course commenting as you will. Y'all have a fantastic rest of the week. Stay cool, especially if you're in the South. Good grief. And we'll talk to you on Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time for the big show. And until then, we'll talk to you in just a very short period of time. Again, stay cool, won't you?
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.